It wasn't a flash of lightning from the sky. I have described it as a gnawing restlessness as I grew up. I had been probably influenced also by my exposures to the Gospels. We were taught how to read the Gospels and talk about how they applied to our lives. That was probably the greatest gift of my schooling. That stayed with me as a habit, as my way of praying. I was taught by the Good Sams from probably, I would have had half a dozen sisters that I knew, some of whom I became very fond of. The real affection they had for the students was tangible, and their willingness to go the extra mile, all those things. And I thought, I'll give the Good Sams a try, but just for 6 months. That was my deal with myself. This novitiate that I'd have to come to was here in Pennant Hills. We turned up and poor old Mum, I realised the cost to her because I was the eldest, and she came in and we were welcomed very warmly by the sisters there, and then I was then invited to go and put on my new garb. Went in, put my garb on, came down the stairs. Well, that was the end of my mother. She just dissolved. It was a strange time. It was like going into another sphere, another reality, certainly another world. I think there was upwards of 60 sisters in there when I first walked in. Now, a novitiate's a place where you do test what your calling to this life, and that's the whole idea of it. So people come and people go. It was in a changeover in the wider world. It was after Vatican Council II. Things were changing. The swinging 60s had hit. Flower power was kind of the flavour of the moment. So a lot of the taboos in society were falling away. The novitiate was reflecting that we were coming from a different world into this very ordered monastic world, really. I miss things like radio, TV. I can distinctly recall being on vegetable duty, and that meant I had to do the beans for however many people, and it was done downstairs, and all the beans had been bought, obviously wrapped in newspaper. Wow, that was like gold to me. Push the beans aside to read the paper, because I hadn't read the paper in a long time. And I don't know how old the paper was, but it was that kind of, that shows you how removed we became. 6 months passed and I pretty much had settled. It was making sense to me at a number of levels. I certainly missed my family. I missed friends, but I was making new friends too. And I guess we were all in it together. This place, it was a deeply formative experience, but it wasn't an end point. It was just a beginning. I think I've always had a hunger for learning, but in the Benedictine way, we talk about a love of learning, which in some ways is a far richer concept. It's about shifting boundaries, opening doors, enlarging your heart, and your mind and your spirit flourishes. That's certainly, because of the wonderful novice director that we had, that certainly became more embedded in my being. It was already there, but I had a spirituality that gave me hooks, that gave me ways into thinking about things. Part of the arrangement was our superior, we called her, our leader, would visit the novices. And I remember the conversation, because she said, Sister, what ministry are you most interested in? And I thought, this is the first time anybody's asked me, because I really wasn't inclined to teaching, I didn't think. And I said, well, I've started Teachers College, Mother. Suppose I should finish that. And then I'd like to do secondary teaching. My first posting was to a primary school, year 3 and 4. Oh, well, my second posting was to a primary school, years 6 and 7. My third posting was to a secondary school. In retrospect, teaching primary was actually the greatest gift because it taught me how to teach. And recognising that I had received something quite unexpected in this tradition that was enriching me. And over the years, it became more and more important to me to be able to share that. I spent probably the first 30 years of my teaching life outside of our schools. But in Queensland, I worked a lot with schools where we had joined our schools with the brothers' schools, or the brothers had come and joined us. The articulation of the charism, ours was disappearing. The Good Sams that have been there 100 years was disappearing. We have never really spent time articulating this. We've just depended on osmosis in the sense that this is how we do things in our Good Sam schools. This is how we are, this is what we value, but we don't put any whys behind it or where it's come from. And it forced me to start thinking about that. Coinciding with that was a formation program that we were running through the congregation as part of our response to the Vatican Council, which was really understand go back to your sources, understand where you come from, understand your charism, and embrace that and share it, because it's a gift. You know, we didn't create it, we've been given it. And I think that became almost my life's work. And then eventually we came in the last 20, 25 years where we've, as a congregation, needed to pass the governance of our schools and the choices that became, I suppose, available to us. It's my great delight. The Good Samaritan Education is thriving. That's the gift the sisters have given us, and it's going to go, it's thriving, and the sisters are not there. So, which is the evidence of a great gift that's being shared.